Welcome to Deep Thought, accepting truth in your life. Now, I've talked plenty about like facing reality, looking for truth, and all of that. But I'm going to tell you what, and this is something I'm going to keep going into one, keep talking about, and just accepting truth in your life. And the reason why, because so many of us walk around here in an illusion, in a matrix. In Hindu culture, they would call it the Maya. We're in an illusion. So when you see truth, when you present it with truth, it can still be tough to accept, even if you know it's true. Now, I'm going to share something about myself. I've told you, and I've said it on here constantly. I will keep saying I'm still growing too. I'm still a work in progress. I have never said I'm perfect. Now, there's something that there's a truth, and I ain't going to say exactly what it is, that I accepted partially. This is what I mean, because it's the type of truth that if I start to share it, people get hurt. It would cause a lot of pain. And I've actually I'll let y'all figure out what the truth is. But then at the same time, there's a part of me that was trying to find there got to be an alternative, got to be something else. Please be something else, right? But it's still a truth. And until I got to the point, I was like, you know what? It's hard, it's tough, but it's truth. And I have to accept it before I can truly share it. And then, like I said, I accepted most of it, but there was that little part. I was like, okay, there got to be an exception. There got to be something else. Please be something else. And it's not. And that's for all of us. That's for all of us. Because think about it, right? When you going through life and you got that false belief, you got that counterfeit persona, you got that mask, you be living a lie. And sometimes that lie is comfortable. That lie is comfortable. It makes you feel good. But then you keep getting hit with that truth. You keep hitting it, and you might even accept it to a degree, but then lie in public. Now, that's one I hadn't done, but, if there are any truths I have, I don't tell a blatant lie publicly. I just don't mention it at best. This particular truth, I hadn't, like I said, shared some of it, but not the full truth. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna lie about it, right? But that truth is some people, though. Some people know the truth of something and blatantly lie. I'm gonna use an example. This is a religious example. I've known many Christian ministers who were metaphysical. Very metaphysical. You could call them new agey, because there's a difference, and anybody who follows those paths, and this is no disrespect to any path, but publicly they'd say one thing, but privately they were doing rituals that would be considered metaphysical or ritualistic. They had some beliefs and everything that contradicted what they said publicly. Like several ministers, they'd say one thing publicly, but privately did something else, right? That's some bull. Because they telling other people and people trusting their thing, all right? So they've actually accepted the truth. They actually accepted at least a truth. We ain't gonna get into like which one is true or not, but they accepted a truth. But then knowing that their congregations and stuff and the people they trying to get tithes from and ultimately money from wouldn't. So they tell a complete lie. But see, that's a problem. Because the thing about any belief, and I use that example, but that's everything. Relationships, money, the economy. Well, I'll use the economy. Let me use the economy before I get to my main point about it all. The economy was already falling. This thing just sped it up. It wasn't a great economy before like this pandemic happened. It wasn't at all. They were having recessions, like recessions in different industries. There was already some issues there, but let's just say numbers were cooked. Numbers were cooked. Like when they talk about unemployment, right? They'll say, oh, it's a low unemployment rate. They're not counting the people. They only count the people who go for unemployment insurance or, some unemployment payments. But once people cycle out of that, they don't count them at all. So they'll say like, oh, it's just 3.3 unemployment. But then, you got so many people who don't even count who are without a job. Like the true jobless rate is always higher. And even with this situation, always higher. All right. So it was like there was a truth, but then a lie presented. All right. And my main point in all of this is before we can even get to sharing the truth, we got to accept it. And we got to accept it in our own lives. And it's not easy. Because as I said before, your whole being is tied to that lie. Whatever your belief system is, it's tied together. If you believe a certain, okay. Say, here's an example. Here's a great example to understand that. Because I've talked about this before, but to understand that, right? In fact, I'm going to use an example from a classic TV show, Married with Children, right? Married with Children. Now, there was, Al Bundy, and, he was usually slovenly, had a bad attitude and everything. But then there was this episode, right, where a woman complimented him. He did something, and the woman just complimented him. And it made him feel good. But since he stopped being, and then, his daughter Kelly explained, oh, yeah, you just have to believe in it. So he started believing himself as attractive. His whole demeanor changed. Everything changed about him. He became charming. He became charming to women. Like women were lined up. He started dressing better. He started showering more. But, this is a comedy. At the end of the show, he went back to his old self, looking slovenly. But that's how belief is. It changes how you walk, how you carry yourself, everything. But then, if that's a false belief, you get hit with truth. And you could sit down. You sit down. You can actually feel pain behind them. Like people, when you get hit with a truth you can't organize, you can be hurt. Shoot, some people, I hate to say it, some people might even kill themselves if they get the truth or something. But here's what you have to do. You have to accept it into your life. It's tough, but you're better at the end for it. That's the whole thing. It will cause accepting truth will cause temporary pain, but never long-term pain. Because it's actually living the lie and not accepting the truth that causes long-term. Because you might do something for years, but then when you get hit with truth, and truth will always come, you stuck in the middle. You stuck, that hurts you. Like you might have built a whole life around a falsehood. You might be living in a certain place, practicing a certain career, in a certain career, even married and stuff, but it was all based on a lie. And then when that truth hits, everything falls apart. That's why you see some people sometimes, they seem like they had everything, but then, those are the type of, especially will kill themselves. Like everything fall apart. You like, what happened? They got hit with truth. See, when you accept truth and move from truth, you also build from truth. When you see who you really are, and this is your skills and everything, it flows. It flows. Truth just cuts through everything. I mean, seriously. And I'm gonna keep, I'm gonna do more on this because that's the biggest thing. Too many of us are living a lie, and I say it us. That's my thing. That's why I gotta grow through stuff. I'm, my goal is by the time I transition from this planet, I've made it. I'll probably be in my 90s or something, maybe even 100s. And I'll be like, hey, you know what? I finally made it. So anyway, you got to learn to accept it. Accept truth in your life. Think on this. Peace and blessings.